When my mother passed away, it felt like the air had been sucked out of our house. My name is Rebecca Carter, and I was only 22 when we lost her. She died suddenly from a stroke, and nothing could have prepared me for how fast life would change. One day, she was baking my favorite banana bread, humming softly to herself in the kitchen, and the next, she was gone. My dad, Henry Carter, was devastated in a way I'd never seen before. He had always been a steady, quiet man, a provider and protector. But after Mom died, he seemed to wither. He stopped shaving, stopped reading his morning newspaper, and mostly sat in the den with the TV on, watching shows he didn't care about. For the first few weeks, I tried to hold things together. I cooked the meals, cleaned the house, and went with Dad to the funeral home to finalize her arrangements. We both grieved in our own ways, but I could tell that the silence was eating him alive. One rainy afternoon, about 2 months after the funeral, he called me into the living room. I found him sitting on the couch, his fingers nervously tapping the remote. "Becca," he said, his voice low and hesitant, "I need to talk to you about something." I sat down beside him, my heart sinking. The way he looked at me made me think it was something serious. "I miss your mother more than I thought I would," he said, his eyes glassy. "More than I can even describe." "I know," I said softly, placing my hand over his. "I don't know how to live without her," he continued. "I don't know how to move on." I thought he was about to tell me he wanted to join a grief support group, or maybe that he was thinking of moving somewhere new for a fresh start. But what he said next left me speechless. "I need you to help me remember her," he said. "And not just through photos or memories. I want you to take her place." My eyebrows furrowed. "What do you mean?" He took a deep breath. "I want you to start doing the things she used to do. Cook her recipes, wear her perfume around the house, maybe even wear her clothes sometimes. It helps me feel like she's still here." I stared at him, completely stunned. "Dad, that's a lot." "I know how it sounds," he said quickly. "And I know it might be strange. But I'm not asking you to pretend to be her forever. Just for a little while. Just until I feel normal again." I didn't know how to respond. The idea of stepping into my mom's life, even temporarily, made my skin crawl. But at the same time, I saw how broken my dad was. If something as simple as me wearing Mom's apron or using her lotion could give him some peace, wasn't that worth considering? That night, I stood in front of Mom's closet, heart pounding. Her clothes still smelled like her, a mix of lavender and vanilla. I pulled out a soft, knitted cardigan she wore often on chilly evenings and held it to my chest. The memories came flooding back, her reading in that cardigan, sipping tea, humming to the radio. I slipped it on. It was a little big on me, but somehow it felt comforting. The next morning, I made Dad breakfast using Mom's old recipe cards. He came into the kitchen and paused. I was wearing her cardigan, her old slippers, and I had even spritzed a little of her perfume on my wrist. "Thank you," he said quietly, sitting down. The days turned into weeks. I started doing more of the things Mom used to do, watering her garden, knitting her unfinished scarf, even joining her old book club, which had been surprised but supportive when I explained I wanted to keep her memory alive. Dad started to smile again, little by little. His beard was trimmed, and he began going out for walks. It seemed like I had helped him out of a dark place, and for a while, that felt like enough. But then, things started to shift. One night, as we were watching a movie Mom used to love, Dad reached over and touched my hand in a way that didn't feel right. Not exactly inappropriate, but strange. Too intimate. I quickly got up and pretended to get water from the kitchen. My heart was racing, and a knot had formed in my stomach. I tried to brush it off as nothing. Maybe I was overthinking. Maybe he was just lonely. But over the next few days, his requests started becoming more specific. He asked me to wear her dresses, to brush my hair the way she did, even to sing her favorite lullaby when he couldn't sleep. I began to feel like a ghost, my own identity fading as I became more and more like her. One night, I confronted him. "Dad, I don't think I can keep doing this. He looked confused. Doing what? Pretending to be her, I said. It's too much. It doesn't feel healthy anymore. He looked at me for a long time, then nodded slowly. I didn't mean to ask too much. I thought it would help. I understand that, I said. But I can't lose myself trying to keep her alive for you. He nodded again, this time with tears in his eyes. You're right. I'm sorry. For a while, we both took a step back. I stopped wearing her things and went back to being myself. Dad seemed to understand, and things between us calmed. He began attending grief counseling at the community center, and I could tell it was helping. He even made a few new friends and started talking about taking a trip to the Grand Canyon, something he and Mom had always dreamed of doing but never got the chance. Just when I thought things were finally finding a new normal, I made a discovery that changed everything. I was cleaning out the attic when I stumbled upon an old box labeled with Mom's name. Inside were letters. Dozens of them. I sat down on the floor and began to read. At first, I thought they were love letters from Dad to Mom, but the handwriting didn't match. These were letters from someone named Daniel. And they weren't just friendly, they were romantic, passionate, and full of longing. One of them read, I know you said you could never leave Henry, but I can't help but wonder what our lives would have been like. I'll always love you. My heart was pounding. Who was Daniel? I read more letters, and it became clear that my mother had been in love with someone else for years. Some of the letters were dated just months before her death. I felt sick. How had I never known? How had Dad never known? Or did he? I took the letters downstairs and confronted him. Did you know about these? I asked, placing them on the table. He stared at them, his face going pale. Where did you find these? In the attic, I said. Did you know? He was silent for a long time. Then, finally, he spoke. Yes. I found out a few years ago. She never told me directly, but I found a letter in her purse one day. I never said anything because I thought I could forgive her. I thought if I loved her enough, I could make her forget him. Tears streamed down my face. Is that why you wanted me to be like her? To bring her back because you couldn't accept the truth? He nodded slowly. I wanted to rewrite the past. I thought if I could see her again, feel her presence through you, I could heal. But it was selfish. I see that now. The room was quiet. The weight of everything we had both just discovered was too much to bear. I packed up the letters and put them in a box, unsure of what to do with them. That night, I lay in bed staring at the ceiling, thinking about my mom, not the woman I thought I knew, but the one who had carried a secret love in her heart while still being a kind and devoted mother.